Hi, I'm Karen Tate, and welcome back to our series called Goddess Calling. And it's based on my book, Goddess Calling, Inspirational Messages and Meditations of Sacred Feminine Liberation Theology. Well, we're still on our road trip to Escondido, and we're filming these segments for you, and I hope you're enjoying them. And the next sacred message I'd like to share with you is called Our Real Wealth. And I think it's important, especially this time of year, because we're so pressured to be consumers. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we've really sort of lost sight of what's important and what's our real wealth. As they say, everything's fine if we just be consumers, and we measure ourselves by our assets. But what if we didn't measure ourselves by our assets? What if we measured ourselves by different parameters? What if we measured ourselves by what type of life we have, our quality of life, how we're in service to others? And, I think we need a new yardstick for measuring our real wealth. So anyway, let me share these thoughts from Goddess Calling, and this was the sacred message that I delivered one sacred Sunday on our real wealth. So sit back and I hope you'll enjoy it. So let's talk a little bit about our bounty, our riches, and our good fortune. We all play the lottery, probably. I know I do. We think if we just made more money or had some kind of windfall, it would make our lives better. We even say when we do prosperity rituals, let the riches come from whatever source the universe might provide, as long as it harms none, and it's best for all concerned. But let's look at this a bit closer. What are our real riches, bounty, and good fortune? The operative word here being real. Where do the real riches come from? What's the source? Well, I recently learned that Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of bounty and all things, is often seen on Indian banks, and some Hindu families will refer to their wife or daughter as their Lakshmi. In other words, the women in their families embody their good fortune. Sometimes families without a girl child will invite female relatives to live with them to bring the bounty of Lakshmi into their lives. What about knowledge? Certainly that's our bounty, especially knowledge that comes from herstory or goddess spirituality that's been swept beneath the rug. For instance, we learn in a male-dominated society, we define power as power over others and the desire to control. But we learn in women's studies within goddess spirituality that that's not a healthy definition of power. In fact, we might discuss if power over something is bounty at all. What a double-edged sword that is. Real bounty comes not from having power over, but the confidence in oneself and real power for oneself. This reduces the need to have power over others or to control them. We don't have to diminish others to assert our own strength. What a bounty it is to know the distinction of this important concept and work toward creating a society using that ideal. What a difference that would make in the world. We know that many goddess temples of the ancient world were centers of financial power and were presided over by priestesses, even though today most of the financial institutions are presided over by men. It's important to know women once wielded the bounty of their people. Barbara Walker teaches that silver and gold coins were valuable not because they were made of precious metals that came from the earth, from the body of Gaia, but because the coins were believed to be blessings from Goddess herself, which were believed to bring good fortune and healing magic, actually making money a magical invention. And let's consider the goddess Juno Moneta. It's interesting that Moneta means she who gives warning. That's a perfect segue for the rest of what I want to share with you. Coming back to the lottery idea, some of you may have heard anecdotal evidence for lottery winners actually being cursed. I know within Kabbalah teachings they believe that because they say something not earned cannot bring you long-term good fortune. I'm not saying life isn't easier with money, but again, money is a double-edged sword. When you have a lot of it, you have to wonder if your friends and family love you or your money. Look at the care you have to put into to keep it, to grow it, and maybe not even be robbed. Someone I know has been a good teacher for me on this subject about the woes of the abundance of money. This is a rich guy. His father is even richer. He has a huge house, and he has more solar panels on it than where I actually live, and it's a huge apartment complex. And you know, my friend is so busy running the family business, keeping the money flowing in. You know, I pity him because I wonder how much happiness he actually has in his life. And I would describe him as trapped by his wealth. You might say, well, that's just what people who don't have money say. Well, they marginalize money. Well, I think it's really more about balance. I think we need enough money, but we have to know when enough is enough. Otherwise, it turns into greed. Kabbalah studies can be very interesting on the subject. In their teachings, you learn you should desire more and more, but not for yourself. The abundance is really to make the lives of others better. In fact, giving is your security. Giving and sharing is your ticket to being safe in a dangerous world. Your blessings, your bounty, comes to you when you give to others. In fact, they think if you give until it hurts, of your time, your care, the benefits of your skill, you get even more bounty or good fortune. So let's think about bounty beyond money. What floats your boat? What makes you feel happy, fulfilled, rich? Well, personally, I've come to know for myself that things don't make me happy. They don't make me feel fulfilled. I'll confide that I was married to my high school sweetheart for a number of years. Early on in my 20s, I had a house and 2 cars. My husband was a nice guy, but it wasn't my bounty. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was constantly yearning and seeking, trying to fill that hole I felt in me. I would do all sorts of things: ceramics, raising spider plants, dance classes. I don't even think I was consciously aware of the hole in me. I just never felt fulfilled. But I had what everyone strives for, didn't I? You know, the house, 2 cars, that's what they say, is important. Well, fast forward, life is very different now. My husband Roy and I have been married over 30 years. Having the right partner in life has certainly been the foundation for my bounty. I could make more money if I worked in corporate America, but I don't. I've traded making money for a better quality of life. Finding Goddess and sharing her ideals, being in service to the great she, to the community, is probably one of the most nourishing things I do, next to being challenged in my thinking and my ideas by my friends in Wisdom Circle. This is my purpose. I think getting older, having experience, and acquiring some wisdom has also contributed to my riches and fortune, because I've liberated myself from worrying so much about what other people say or think about me. And I no longer feel I have to be perfect in everything I do. I just have to do my best. In fact, when my cats come up and sit next to me with one on each arm of my chair, they make me feel like I'm caballing on her throne. Then when someone emails me thanking me for doing my radio show, or because they've read my book and it's been meaningful to them, these are the kinds of things that help me know that I'm rich. As I say on my radio show, it's gas in my tank. It's what keeps me going. So these are some of the examples of what I'd say are my riches. What are yours? What's your purpose? What's important to think about? That's important to think about, because how often do you hear about someone retiring from their job and maybe they drop dead because they have nothing to live for. Their purpose is ended. Or they win the lottery and they get arrogant, they stop caring, they drop out, they stop relating, and they don't make wise investments in their life. And again, I'm not talking about money. They become an empty vessel. How many people think gold, diamonds, drugs, alcohol, power, food will fill that gaping hole inside of them? Does the latest computer gadget fulfill you? What about designer clothes and shoes? A new car every year? Do they really fulfill you? Maybe for a little while, but for how long? Is that real fulfillment, or is it fool's gold? Does that brief glimpse of happiness fade? What fills your vessel to overflowing? Really think about it. Is it good friends, supportive family, great conversation, travel, making discoveries, going to the ocean and feeling at one with the ebb and flow of the mother? Maybe it's laying in the grass, looking up in the sky, being appreciated or helping others, debating a concept, your lover's warm embrace, cool sheets on a spring morning, satisfaction from a goal completed. What feeds you? What's your riches and bounty, your real riches and bounty? That's what will bring you good fortune. Remember, Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. Follow your bliss and riches will flow. Most importantly, when you find what feeds you, Goddess teaches you to nurture and tend to those things, just like you nurture and tend a garden. Tend to your friendships. Nurture the things that fulfill you. Whatever it is that makes you feel rich, don't neglect it. If you're finding yourself feeling empty, at a loss, or poor, then maybe you haven't been tending your life's garden. As I remind listeners on my radio show, Mother Nature, Gaia herself, teaches us what we tend to and nurture thrives, what we neglect withers, and we're left with nothing, and that's real poverty. So to conclude, we are probably all very rich. We just have to focus on defining what our bounty and riches are and the source of our good fortune, especially this time of year. So thank you very much for listening to this installment of God is Calling, and I hope you'll come back for the next installment.